This video is for educational purposes only. The storyline is inspired by real-life case studies, but the characters and events depicted are entirely fictional. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental and unintentional. There is no intention to offend anyone in any way. The author disclaims any liability for any interpretation, action, or consequence resulting from this content. Viewers are advised to conduct their own research and consult relevant professionals for specific advice.
What if I told you a simple wart could become a life-threatening nightmare? And what if the solution wasn't in a hospital but hidden in an ancient tree that doctors rarely discuss? This transplant patient was losing his fingers one by one until a 2,000-year-old remedy changed everything in just 21 days. Even his doctors couldn't explain it. Meet Alex, a 34-year-old clerk whose life had already been saved once by a kidney transplant. But every victory has a price. The medications keeping his new kidney functioning also suppressed his immune system. 1 year after his transplant, Alex noticed something concerning: small bumps appearing on his fingers. Verruca vulgaris, common warts caused by a virus. But in Alex's case, with his compromised immune system, there was nothing common about them. These weren't your average warts. They were aggressive, treatment-resistant, and multiplying rapidly. Doctors tried everything modern medicine offers: cryotherapy, cauterization, even radiosurgery. Nothing worked. Then came the darkest moment. One wart on Alex's middle finger turned malignant. Yes, cancerous. The only option? Amputation of 2 segments of his finger. Alex was a clerk. His hands were his livelihood. And now, after losing part of one finger, doctors confirmed the same virus was still active in his remaining warts. The unthinkable became possible. Could he lose more fingers? His career? His independence? When modern medicine runs out of answers, people look elsewhere. Desperate, Alex began researching alternatives that might help his unique situation. That's when he discovered something intriguing: case reports of immunocompromised patients responding to a remedy with centuries of historical use. Thuja Occidentalis, the tree of life, used by indigenous peoples since the 16th century for various skin conditions. In homeopathy, it's been specifically associated with treating unusual growths and warts. Now let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Conventional medicine often dismisses homeopathy entirely. The proposed mechanisms don't align with our current understanding of biochemistry. And yet, when you're facing amputation and have exhausted conventional options, even skepticism takes a backseat to hope. What did Alex have to lose? What happened next would shock even his doctors. Alex consulted with a homeopathic practitioner who prescribed a dual approach: Thuja Occidentalis 1 potency taken orally, plus a topical application of Thuja tincture directly on the warts. The treatment plan was remarkably simple: 2 doses of the oral remedy 3 times daily, plus applying the extract to each wart for 7 days. With his doctor's knowledge, though admittedly not much encouragement, Alex began the treatment. His conventional medical care continued, including regular monitoring of his transplanted kidney function. The first week brought subtle changes. Nothing dramatic, but for the first time in months, the warts weren't getting worse. By the second week, something remarkable was happening. The warts were noticeably shrinking. Alex could hardly believe what he was seeing. And then, at the 3-week mark, Alex looked down at his hands and saw something that seemed impossible. The warts were gone, completely vanished. After months of failed conventional treatments and partial amputation, after facing the possibility of losing more fingers, 3 weeks of Thuja had apparently done what modern medicine couldn't. This wasn't just subjective improvement, this was visible, documented transformation. Even more remarkable, throughout the treatment, Alex's transplanted kidney remained stable. His immunosuppressant medication continued working normally. His creatinine levels stayed consistent at 1.5, exactly where they should be. But would it last? Or would the warts return as aggressively as before? 1 full year later, Alex returned for follow-up. The verdict? No recurrence. Not a single wart had returned. The doctor who had once scheduled him for possible additional amputations was speechless. This case was so extraordinary it was published in the Indian Journal of Nephrology, a peer-reviewed medical journal. The medical community had to acknowledge what happened, even if they couldn't fully explain it. Alex's experience raises fascinating questions about treatments we might be overlooking, especially for patients with limited conventional options. To be clear, this is one documented case study, not a clinical trial involving thousands of patients. We can't make broad claims based on Alex's experience alone, but it does highlight the potential value of looking beyond our current medical paradigm when conventional approaches have been exhausted. The history of medicine is full of discoveries that initially seemed implausible. Today's alternative sometimes becomes tomorrow's standard care. What matters most is what actually helps real patients. For Alex, the outcome wasn't just about warts disappearing. It was about reclaiming his life, his work, and his peace of mind. If you found this story fascinating, subscribe for more evidence-based explorations of where conventional and traditional medicine intersect. Next week, we're examining another documented case where conventional treatments failed, but an unexpected approach succeeded. Share your experiences below, both successes and disappointments. Real healing happens when we keep open minds while maintaining critical thinking. As always, this video is for educational purposes only. Never discontinue prescribed medical treatment without consulting your healthcare provider. And remember, what worked in one case may not work for everyone.